You wake up at 7 a.m., your alarm is blaring. You turn over, still half asleep. Your stomach feels bloated, your face looks swollen, and you haven't had anything to eat or done any movement yet. Logically, your body should be primed to burn fat at this point, but that's not what's actually happening. Because in the next 30 to 45 minutes, you're going to make a series of choices that decide whether your body spends the rest of the day burning fat or storing it. Most people have no idea this short window even matters. You could do everything right later in the day, eat clean food like chicken and vegetables, drink enough water, hit the gym in the evening, and push through a solid workout. And yet your body might still resist letting go of fat, all because of what happened between waking up and that first hour of your morning. This isn't primarily about calories. It isn't about genetics either. It comes down to one key hormone, cortisol. More precisely, it's about something called the cortisol awakening response, a natural biological surge that happens every morning and is completely misunderstood or ignored by most people. Here's the uncomfortable reality. Your belly fat doesn't respond to motivation or discipline. It responds to hormonal signals, especially cortisol. And right now, without realizing it, you might be sending the wrong message to your body while thinking you're doing the right thing. What I'm going to show you is a simple 5-step morning sequence that helps reset that response. This isn't about hype, mindset tricks, or forcing yourself through extreme routines. It's biology, and it still works even if you dislike dieting, hate exercise, or have tried and failed many times before, because once you understand the mechanism, willpower becomes far less important. To understand why this matters, you need to see what your body is actually doing with fat. There's an enzyme in your system called lipoprotein lipase, or LPL. Think of it as a switch that controls fat storage. It takes energy circulating in your bloodstream and decides whether it gets used immediately or locked away into fat cells for later. You can imagine LPL as a gatekeeper outside a club. It decides whether fuel gets access to your muscles to be burned for energy or whether it gets redirected into storage, sealed away inside fat tissue. Now here's the important part. The fat around your abdomen, especially visceral fat, behaves differently from other fat in your body. It carries significantly more cortisol receptors, which means it reacts more strongly to stress hormones. In simple terms, your belly fat is highly sensitive to cortisol signals. In the morning, your body is in a fragile state. You've gone hours without water, your internal balance is slightly stressed, and your nervous system is trying to quickly assess safety and stability for the day ahead. In this state, the signals you send your body matter a lot. If the wrong signals are triggered around 7 a.m., your body interprets that as stress or danger. The response is protective, not cosmetic. It shifts into conservation mode, prioritizing storage over burning. LPL becomes more active in storing fat, and your abdominal fat essentially gets locked in for the day. Once that switch flips, your body can remain in storage mode for many hours afterward. Even intense exercise later in the day may not fully override that early hormonal decision. But the opposite is also true. If you send the right signals during this early window, you can shift your body toward a different state, one where fat burning is more active and more accessible throughout the day. That's where this protocol comes in. It starts with something simple, the hydration reset. Most people immediately reach for coffee the moment they wake up, and that's where the first mistake happens. Because when you wake up in the morning, your body is already significantly dehydrated. Not slightly, severely. Overnight, you lose close to a liter of water just through breathing alone. That alone thickens your blood, making your heart work harder just to circulate it. That physical stress quietly pushes cortisol higher even before you get out of bed. And it doesn't stop there. Your adrenal glands, the organs responsible for producing cortisol, don't rely on willpower or motivation. They depend on minerals, especially sodium and potassium. When those are low, your body interprets it as another stress signal and compensates by releasing even more cortisol. It becomes a chain reaction of stress responses building on each other. Most people unknowingly make this worse the moment they wake up by reaching for coffee. Since coffee is a diuretic, it dehydrates you further, which can intensify that cortisol spike instead of calming it. So instead of settling the system, they push it deeper into stress mode. The solution is surprisingly simple but feels backward at first: salt. The first thing you do after waking up, even before standing up, is drink a full glass of room temperature water. Not cold, because that can shock your system and add more stress. Then, add a small pinch of good quality sea salt or pink Himalayan salt. The reason this works is because sodium isn't just a mineral, it's a signal. When your body detects sodium early in the morning, it interprets it as resource availability. It no longer needs to stay in alert mode. In response, hormones like aldosterone and adrenaline begin to drop, and cortisol follows. You can also add a little fresh lemon juice. The potassium helps support liver function and adds another layer of metabolic support, reinforcing the signal that the body is safe and balanced again. This combination is often referred to as an adrenal cocktail, and what it does is gently bring cortisol down within minutes, not by forcing anything, but by removing the stress signals your body was reacting to in the first place. It's not control, it's correction. You're telling your system it doesn't need to stay on high alert anymore. That completes the first signal. Hydration plus minerals equals safety. The second signal is about light, and it's how you reset your internal clock. Your metabolism doesn't run randomly. It's controlled by a master timing system in your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This tiny cluster of cells decides when you feel awake, when you feel tired, when energy rises, and when it drops. If this system is out of sync, everything else follows. Cortisol stays high at the wrong times, energy feels unstable, cravings increase, and fat storage becomes more likely, especially around the abdomen. Most people accidentally disrupt this system first thing in the morning. They turn on artificial lights or immediately look at their phone, but indoor lighting is weak in biological terms, often around 500 lux. It's not strong enough to properly signal wakefulness, yet it's enough to confuse your brain. It creates a half-awake state where your system doesn't fully switch into daytime mode. The fix is to get natural light into your eyes within 30 minutes of waking. No sunglasses, no screens blocking it, just direct daylight exposure for 5 to 10 minutes. Even on cloudy days, outdoor light is dramatically stronger than indoor lighting, often by a factor of 20 or more. When that sunlight hits your eyes, it sends signals through the retina directly to the brain's hypothalamus. That triggers a proper cortisol rhythm, a healthy rise followed by a natural decline, not a chronic elevation, but a controlled wave that supports energy instead of stress. At the same time, your circadian clock resets. Your brain locks in the idea that the day has started, which also improves your sleep quality later that night. Serotonin production increases too, setting the stage for melatonin production later in the evening. This is the second signal. Light equals alignment, and alignment equals safety. The third signal is about caffeine timing, and this is where most people unknowingly disrupt everything. There's a 90-minute rule that changes how your entire morning physiology behaves. When you sleep, your brain accumulates a chemical called adenosine. It builds up sleep pressure, which is what makes you feel tired. During deep sleep, your brain gradually clears it out through its waste-clearing system. But when you first wake up, some of it is still present in your system, meaning your brain hasn't fully transitioned out of sleep mode yet. If you drink coffee immediately, caffeine blocks adenosine receptors. You feel awake, but nothing has actually been cleared. You've just muted the signal. Later in the day, usually around early afternoon, that leftover adenosine catches up. It hits all at once, causing a sudden energy crash. When that crash happens, your body interprets it as stress and releases cortisol again to compensate. That creates a second unwanted cortisol spike later in the day. And that spike often leads to cravings, especially for sugar. Blood sugar rises, insulin follows, and excess energy gets stored, often in the form of abdominal fat. All of this can trace back to that early coffee timing. When you wait about 90 minutes after waking before consuming caffeine, you allow adenosine to clear more naturally. Your cortisol awakening response completes its full cycle without interference. Your body finishes its natural transition into wakefulness. Then, when you finally do drink coffee, the effect is cleaner. Instead of masking fatigue, it enhances already stable energy. There's less crash, fewer cravings, and less hormonal disruption throughout the day. This completes the third signal. Patience equals stability. Signal number 4 is movement, but not the kind most people get told to do. You've probably heard the advice, do HIIT in the morning, push burpees, sprint, shock your metabolism awake. But if your body is already under stress and carrying visceral fat, that approach can backfire. High-intensity exercise creates a temporary, low-oxygen state. Your body reads that as strain or threat. And when your system senses threat, it responds the only way it knows how, by increasing cortisol, not lowering it. That's the opposite of what you want if the goal is fat release. In that state, you're not telling your body to burn fat. You're signaling urgency. And urgency tells your system to hold on to energy, not release it. The better approach isn't doing nothing, it's doing something completely different, slow forward movement. But the real key isn't just walking, it's something called optic flow. When you walk forward, your environment moves past your field of vision in a steady stream. That continuous visual motion sends signals directly to your brain's threat processing center, the amygdala. Neuroscience shows that this kind of visual flow helps calm that system down. Anxiety decreases, cortisol eases, the brain shifts out of defense mode. From an evolutionary perspective, forward walking meant progress, control, and safety. You weren't stuck, you were moving with purpose. Your body still interprets that pattern the same way. So when you take a slow 10 to 15-minute walk outside in the morning, you're combining two powerful signals at once: movement and light. Your system receives a simple message: we are moving forward, we are safe, we are in control. And in that state, your body is finally willing to tap into stored energy, including visceral fat. This is signal number 4, forward motion equals permission. Signal number 5 is just as important, but it's about what you avoid. You do not check your phone for the first 30 minutes after waking up. No messages, no social media, no notifications. Because the moment you open your phone, you're exposing a fresh, highly sensitive brain to a flood of emotional and cognitive input. You're reacting before you've even regulated. That instantly activates stress circuits, increases dopamine spikes, and pushes cortisol upward. At that point, your nervous system shifts into a reactive state. It starts scanning for problems, comparisons, and urgency. Even if nothing is truly wrong, your body behaves as if it is. And when your body thinks the environment is unstable, it locks into storage mode, not release mode. By delaying that input, you protect your baseline. You give your parasympathetic system time to establish calm before the world starts demanding attention. This isn't about discipline or digital detox trends. It's about protecting your metabolic state in the most sensitive part of the day. A reactive morning creates a reactive body. Cortisol stays elevated. Fat storage stays active. A calm morning creates a regulated body. Cortisol normalizes. Stored energy becomes accessible. That is signal number 5. Protected attention equals metabolic stability. Now put it all together as a sequence. 6:00 a.m. wake up, no phone. 6:01 a.m. drink the adrenal cocktail, water with sea salt and lemon. 6 to 10 a.m. go outside for 10 minutes of natural sunlight, no sunglasses. 6:20 a.m. take a 10 to 15 minute slow walk, letting your eyes track forward movement. 6:30 a.m. come back inside, still no phone, read, write, breathe, or sit quietly. 8:30 a.m. after about 90 minutes, you can finally have coffee. That's the full system. When you follow it, your cortisol curve stabilizes instead of spiking out of control. Your body stops treating the day like an emergency. Your LPL enzyme stays balanced, meaning fat is less likely to be locked into storage mode. Energy becomes steadier, cravings reduce, and your body naturally starts pulling from stored fuel instead of constantly demanding new intake. You don't get the mid-afternoon crash because you didn't create the early morning imbalance that causes it. You don't get intense sugar cravings later because your blood sugar and stress hormones aren't swinging wildly. By the time you reach lunch, you're naturally less hungry. By mid-afternoon, you're not searching for quick energy fixes. By evening, you've often consumed significantly fewer calories without forcing restriction or counting anything. And the key point is this: none of it relies on willpower. It's not about forcing discipline or pushing through suffering. It's about aligning your morning signals so your biology stops working against you. Most people start their day by overriding their natural systems with screens, caffeine, stress, and stimulation. Then they wonder why they feel drained, inflamed, and stuck with stubborn belly fat. This protocol does the opposite. It removes unnecessary stress signals and allows the body to follow its natural rhythm again. When that happens, fat loss stops being something you chase and starts becoming something your body naturally supports. This isn't a diet, it isn't a supplement routine, it isn't a workout plan. It's a reset of how your body interprets the start of the day. And when that interpretation changes, everything else follows.